Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Word on the Street from the LFC Day Trippers. I'm your host, Gav. With me, as usual, is Grizz and Molly. This is going to be about a half an hour show. We're going to try to do it maybe once, maybe twice a week, depending on how things move transfer-wise. Let's get straight into it, because I've drinking to be done, and I'd rather be down there than up here. Let's get at it, lads. I'm going to start with the outs, because there's a lot being made of who we're getting, what we're doing. But, you know, for a long while I've said we need 4 or 5 top-class players to come in and make themselves first-team players, and then the squad goes from there. Let's start with the outs, and the maddest one of the week is probably Sadio Mane apparently having a deal agreed with, or his agent having an agreement with Real Madrid. Molly, I'll come to you first. What did you make of that one?
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird one, right, Kev, wasn't it? No, it's obviously either one of two things has gone on here. Is that the agent could be playing some games and putting this information out, knowing full well that there is, contract negotiations going on with Liverpool. And I mean, a story like Mane going to Real Madrid would do those contract negotiations no harm whatsoever. Or the second thing is that the story could actually be true. Whereas, if you remember when Canal Plus broke the Fekir news, they also said that we were in for Dembele. But what you might not remember from that is they also said that if we do get Dembele, it means that one of the big three goes out. That quite possibly could have been Mane. So, and we know from last summer that Klopp would have sold Coutinho early on if Barca came on early on during the window and we had time to replace him. Now, personally, I think it is the former. I think it is just a negotiation tactic to get a better deal off of Liverpool. But there's a possibility that story was true.
I'm not too sure. I think, I seen someone tweet the other day that we sold either any of the front three, that a lot of people would do their best to try justify it. I don't think there's any justification in selling any of them three, or anybody in their starting 11, what's perceived to be our starting 11. There's just no justification to it if you want to go where we believe we want to go. So, I don't know how much is in it. I don't know whether it's clubs unsettling clubs, because this market is shortened, and it's going to be ridiculous. I think between now and probably next probably a week today, I think it's going to be ridiculous, to be perfectly honest. Grizz, what did you make of this Mane one?
It's just I think I agree with Molly's first theory about contract negotiations. I think it's just a smart move to get Mane, who's actually near enough, from what I've heard, near enough agreed a new contract, and it's just going to help with that. That's all it is. I don't think there's much to it. I don't think there is nothing to be worried about. Definitely nothing to be worried about. Mane, Mane's only recently come out and said sort of how looking forward he is to playing with his fellow countryman Nabil Fekir. So do you know what I mean? That want to make sense. So yeah, I think it's a nothing story. Just silly season.
Would anybody take Dembele over Mane just out of interest? If it was true.
Don't ask me that, because I'll have 1,000 people blocking me.
I don't think it's a question of one over the other. I think you're swapping. It might not be like for like. They're probably different players, but don't. You need the squad. So the way I look at it is, if you swap Mane for Dembele, right, you can argue all day who's the better player. I think Mane is a better player in their system than Dembele would. I think for me, he's a more rounded player than Dembele is. But then you're still looking and you're saying, oh yeah, well, even if you think Dembele is better, you're still looking and you're going, yeah, but look who we have as backup. Look where we still stand. The I suppose the pros of it are far away by the cons of, and not cons, I suppose, just it's a lack of activity, really. It's just swapping one for another, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just a slight upgrade at best.
Yeah.
If so, even if it's just a much of as Gav says, we could argue all day. Obviously Mane is the more experienced, the more rounded. He's sort of a few years older as well. But I just think the Dembele kid's frightening. He's just my favourite attacker. So maybe I'm just biased, obviously, because of the personal favourite thing. But yeah, you're right. I mean, look, if someone offered me a swap deal absolute hypothetically, sort of Fekir and Dembele for Mane, then, for me, it makes total sense. But it's hypothetical. We're not suggesting that that's the case or anything like that.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to a few more. Danny Ward, Ryan Brewster, Sturridge, Ings, Moreno. There's plenty of names there. Molly, take your pick. Who do you want to go with on them?
Well, if we look at the Sturridge one and the Brewster one, these two deals could kind of tie into one another. Sturridge is certain to go this summer. It looks like Besiktas are interested in him, or he may even go to the States, but I think his career is finished at Liverpool. Ings is another one. I reckon that he'll go. Paul Joyce has come out today and said that Liverpool aren't looking to sign another striker or backup to Firmino. So for me, everything points there to Klopp doing his absolute utmost to keep hold of Brewster. He's going, look, I'm willing to get rid of Sturridge. I'm willing to get rid of Ings. You're going to be my second, third in line behind Firmino. So forget about Germany. Stay here, sign a new deal, whatever it takes. So to me, that's where look. I think we're going to get rid of a couple of strikers there, and we're going to hope that convinces Brewster that he's in our plans and he's going to get game time.
Yeah, he could do. Grizz, out of them names, is there anyone you'd like to pick and go on? As I've said to you, Ward, Brewster, Sturridge, Ings, Moreno. Anything you want to add on any of them?
Yeah, I mean, Sturridge is a foregone conclusion. I'd go with that. I think Ward. I think what Molly said last week about keepers. I think we could possibly see. Well, realistically, I can definitely see two going. I can definitely see Ward and Mignolet going. Moreno's a strange one. Moreno's a strange one because I was of the opinion that Moreno's definitely going. And we're going to get a sort of a younger left back as a backup to sort of Robertson. But, since then, I think a couple of weeks ago, I think there was news that of a new contract being offered to them. So that's come of a bit of a surprise. I don't know how that's going to go. The Ryan Brewster, however you say his name, I think I've mentioned it before. I've got someone who's a mate who's actually the commercial manager of Ryan Brewster, owns half of his commercial rights, and it's been confirmed he's actually staying now. So that's all that Borussia München. How would you say it?
Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah. I just opened my fast. I'd struggled on normal day how to bloody pronounce that, but yeah, he's all that drama with them was resolved. We told him to F off, and Brewster's definitely saying so. I think part of the negotiations would have been, look, Studge is off. I think there's a very high chance Ings is off, which would mean Bobby, Big Dom Solanke and Ryan Brewster as our sort of strikers. Call them what you want. And then as I think Joyce has come out today, or Maddock, that Klopp's looking to add more multifunctional forwards as opposed to just sort of your number 9. So I think that's what probably helped negotiate Ryan Brewster to stay as well.
Okay.
A quick thing on Moreno. I know Chris was saying with the whole contract talks. From what I heard, he's looking to leave, and we are willing to offer him a new contract, but really that's just to protect our investment. That way we look at it is it would probably cost us more to buy in a backup left back than it would to give Moreno a new contract. But seemingly he's not too happy to sit on the bench here next season. He did it for a whole season as it was. So from what I heard, he's actually looking to move out.
Yeah, I heard the same actually. So I don't know. That's a bit of a up in the air.
Okay. For me, looking down that list of players, Ward for me will go. Because I think Ward and Mignolet will go, and I think the argument.
Bogdan, that's 3 gone.
Well, Bogdan doesn't fucking he doesn't qualify as a fucking mascot for Liverpool. Never mind the goalkeeper. Brewster, if he stays, great. Sturridge for me will go. Ings one is interesting. I wouldn't have him. I'd get rid of him. Be honest with you. If you're willing to bring someone in that's better than him, yeah, I'd let him go. The one with Moreno is interesting, and a lot about Klein might depend on this. I think you have Trent at right back and Robertson as a left back as your fourth choice. He may look and say, okay, Moreno, he doesn't trust him. It could be something down them lines, or he doesn't suit us, or whatever it is. Despite having a decent enough half season before injury for us, but he might look at Klein and say, no, look, he can cover both of them. He can help us out. It mean more games for Klein because he's not just waiting on one position. He could be covering in two. But for me, I don't think Moreno will ever make it as a Liverpool player. It's as simple as that. I think the half season he had where he was decent, going back to the start of last season, I think was more of an outlier than that. Nelson, you know, it wasn't something where you go, that's the Moreno we always watched. It's not the Moreno you always watched. It was far from the Moreno you've always watched. But we'll see how it goes. There will be movement in the squad, but as I keep saying, we need 4 to 5, and we need top drawer where we'd say, you know, the ladder keeps falling. You know, the blocks keep falling. So if you bring in top 5 really top ones, they drop in, and 5 of the ones that aren't too sure in the squad, they drop down, and the fringe ones disappear. You know, and the lads that are in around it, they become fringe, and that's how you work a squad. But we'll see how it goes. We're not going to drag it out all night, lads, about ins and the players that may come in. We're just going to hit names. We're going to get short little opinions on it, and we leave it there because word may break over the next day or two. If it does break, we will be back to you, and we do our very best to be back to you ASAP as soon as a transfer breaks. But we're going to go through these names. I'm not going to give you my opinion. I'm going to get the two lads' opinions. I've about 6, 7 names here. We're going to go really quick through them and see where we get. First one. I've just got a message there to say that we've put in a bid for, is it Leno, the goalkeeper? That's coming out of build. Yeah. So we may leave that for the moment. We'll see how that goes. But I'm not going to put Oblak on this list because I think Oblak, it's gone very quiet on him, and we're looking at a keeper slightly less expensive. So we'll go with it from here. So Grace, I'll go with you first. Alisson Becker, the Roma goalkeeper. What's your take on this?
Alisson is the same take I've had since December, man. He's been our first choice since December. You know, Bobby's been apparently putting a few nice words for us. But it's just, you know, again, this Leno talk, I don't give much thought to it. I think it's just we're sending out smoke screens of other targets to try to sort of get clubs to negotiate with us or lower the price. I mean, you know, Roma at the moment, we know they're selling. They're willing to sell. Alisson's admitted as much he's going. I do actually think there's only us and Madrid in it. And I think Madrid are his first choice. But the thing is, he knows at Liverpool he's going to be first choice. This is the dilemma in his head at the moment, I'd say, because he's near enough guaranteed here first choice. If we spent 50 million on him, he's not coming as a competition for Karius. He's coming as our number one. With the Navas situation at Madrid, you know, touch and go. Navas has just won 3 European Cups with them. So are they going to get rid of their keeper? I think the noise is coming out of his camp were that, look, Madrid are his first choice. He is considering Liverpool. He has listened to our offer and what we got to say. So it is where it is at the moment. He's just waiting on Madrid, I think, if they're going to make a move and sort of convince him. Okay. But if they don't, I think we're willing to pay. I think we're willing to sort of pay lesser fees for other areas in the pitch and sort of focus on this goalkeeper. Okay. So that's my take on it.
All right, Molly, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree with Chris. I think Real Madrid are certainly his first choice, but I don't think they're a clear, distant favourite or anything like that. I think, you know, they're slightly maybe ahead of us. Again, I think the fee is going to be troublesome because Roma are obviously acting city buggers and looking for some ridiculous fee. I think we'd be looking to pay between 40 to 50 million for him. So I know we might come on to other keepers later on, like Butland and so on. So I think we have our irons in other fires at the moment, and Alisson is one of those of, well, look, if Roma come to us and go, fair enough, we'll take 40, 50 million for him. And if Alisson kind of goes, yeah, I want Liverpool, not Madrid, then I think a deal could be done. But I don't think the ball's in our court. It's in the players and Roma's court at this stage.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the big. It's just really not in our court at the moment. The thing is, the thing with this is we're probably going to come to that player later on. But the difference between this and the
I think Grizz is gone there, is he?
Grizz is gone.
so
Oh, yeah,
that's
he's
the
back.
difference in this situation. It's the same.
Great point, Grizz.
Yeah, great point, Grizz. You completely went there. We heard nothing of that, so that's amazing. And right, here we go. Next one, and this is the one that's been on everyone's fucking lip for, I don't know, a year. I don't know how long it is now. Nabil Fekir. Molly, I'll go with you first. What's your take on this one?
Yeah, well, the noises coming out seem to be pretty positive. It seems today that their president, John Arlaskey, has basically agreed that Fekir can go. It seems to be the fee is now the issue, where Leon haven't actually given us the price yet. Again, we have a price in our head of around 50 million-ish. So it'll be interesting to see what Leon comes out with. You know, I was quite sure last week that it might have been done this week, but it just feels like this is going to be the saga of the summer. It's just one of those ones that I think is going to be every single week what's the latest on Fekir. But I think we will get it done. But when? Who knows?
Grizz, this one seems to be Liverpool want it done before the World Cup. Leon want to try hang on. Do you think it gets done before the World Cup?
I'm saying with Molly, I thought we'd have much more progress this week than we've had. So putting a time scale on it, it's just being foolish. So we're going to skip that. But what I was saying when I was sort of lost connection was the difference between this and the Alisson situation is the Fekir situation is far clearer. We want Fekir as our first choice. Fekir wants us. The club has decided to sell him. The club has tried to intimate that there's other clubs in it, but Fekir and his agent have come out and said, look, we're only interested in Liverpool. So therefore, we've got a clear on. It's much more clearer. Alisson, you know, it's a bit muddied waters, even though we want Alisson as our first choice. The Fekir situation, as far as I know, as far as I've been told, is the Fekir situation is their original asking price was 52 million. We've actually offered that, but they've changed the goalpost, moved the goalpost. He wants 60 million now. Since he's been selected for the World Cup, he's trying to be clever. We'll get to an agreement. It's just look, at the end of the day, we're trying to get the best deal possible. Edwards and Co are trying to get the best deal possible. So it can take an extra week or so. No harm done. We definitely want it before the World Cup. When is the cut-off point for sort of the World Cup? Molly, would you know?
But the World Cup kicks off next week, so I'm sure it'd have to be within the next 5 days, because they're probably going to fly out to Russia and so on. So.
Absolutely. So look, it's touch and go if it's going to be before the World Cup, but I'm still in the camp of saying that it'll get done in the next 5 days.
Okay. Let me see. I'm going to give you a couple of names here, Grizz. This lad Moses, Shaqiri, and there's another guy off. I think you said Valencia that has a strange name that I can't pronounce, and I'm not going to try and pronounce. But what is your take on these three? Moses rumoured at 10 million, Shaqiri a buyout at 12 million, and the other guy is he with Valencia or is he with PSG?
He's owned by PSG. He was spent a year on loan to Valencia.
All right, give me a take on them, and I'll be back to you now.
Okay, so listen, basically, there's definitely a certain plan we can see with sort of what Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool want to do in terms of this backup to Salah and Mane. So it's the profile that we're looking of a forward is like from the ages of like 20 to 23, someone in that age group who's going to sort of be happy to be a backup to Mane and Salah. So these names have cropped up. I think we're doing it brilliantly. I think we're absolutely handling it perfectly. I always felt last season the biggest trick we missed out on was we never threw out names when chasing Keita and VVD. It was just, we're after Naby Keita, we're just after VVD. And I think that's where we got shafted by the clubs. Sort of in terms of they knew we were desperate just for VVD and Keita. In my opinion, you know, a lot of these names are smokescreens. I personally don't think there's any interest in the Moses guy, even though there seems to be quite a bit of push for him. Same with Shaqiri. The only thing with the Shaqiri one is the 12 million buyout clause or relegation clause or whatever it is. That's tempting. So, you'd think. But I personally think that they're just sort of names that are being thrown out there to sort of get other clubs to talk about our main targets. So I think it's good what we're doing. There's plenty of names out there, but I don't think there's much credible names out there. Shaqiri, I don't see that. He's 26. He left Inter to come to was it Stoke? He come from Inter, didn't he? To Stoke.
Yep.
He came from Inter Milan to Stoke for first team football. I can't see him in the at sort of age of 26 being happy to sit on our bench. That's just me. I also don't think, looking at his sort of stats and his sort of how much sort of he covers in a match, his ground, sort of how much ground he covers in terms of pressing and whatnot, he doesn't come across as a Liverpool or a Jurgen Klopp player to me. So I think that's just a smokescreen, even though, the big boys have all come out unanimously. I just think we're being very clever in the market now and putting names out there, putting pressure on other teams. Sort of, look, we've got options. So Moses one and the Shaqiri one, I wouldn't put nothing to it. I do actually think we've got an interest in PSV wide man, Steven Bernwig. Hopefully that's how you say his name. Again, 20-year-old, dashing, pacey winger, had a brilliant season with PSV, around the price what we're looking for to pay for like a backup sort of winger, which is like sort of between 10 and 20 million. So, and the player that you was trying to sort of, you didn't want to mention his name, or you didn't know how to say his name, Guedes, I think, who spent a year on Valencia. He's actually, for me, he's frighteningly good. He's frighteningly good, and I'd absolutely love it if he went for him. But I think they're the targets. I think Moses one came out of the blue. I don't really see enough quality in him to be sort of even as a backup. I'd rather, and I mean this, I'd rather Harry Wilson was given a chance than the Moses lad.
Okay, Jace, that was an awful lot to take in, Chris. A lot. No, you're just saying there about a lot of people putting names out. The likes of Melissa Reddy and Paul Joyce have mentioned Shaqiri today. I don't think they mention him if there's nothing behind it. If you get me. They mention players when they're fairly certain. So we'll have to see what goes on there. Dembele, you were talking to me.
My take on that is, Gav.
Yeah, go on then.
My take on that is, Gav, Shaqiri is not the type of player that we would sort of put in the media interest and sort of make a big hoo-ha about it. It's a 12 million clause. We'd go and get him and then announce it, because there's no way if we put in a bid for Shaqiri, he says no to us. Do you get what I'm saying? He's not the type of player that sort of is going to have a battle on his hand, sort of loads of clubs going on for him, and it's like a big transfer saga. Do you know what I mean? I think if we really want Shaqiri, we don't put it out there. We just go and get him. It's there. That I don't think it's too much of a deal. So that's what gives me doubt. But hey, I could be wrong.
Okay, Molly, Grizz has given us the life stories of about 6 players there. But what's your take on these couple of lads that are being mentioned? Shaqiri, Moses, and the guy from Valencia. I'm just going to keep calling them.
Yeah. I just think we were keeping our options open. So I fully believe that we hold an interest in Shaqiri, Moses, and this Guenches guy. I reckon we may have a budget for a backup winger to Salah and Mane, as like Riz said, from 10 to 20 million. I'm just kind of going around there saying, well, who's available for that price? Who could we get? And so we're making some inquiries to see who's available. And at the end of that, we'll make our decision. I know with Moses, I spoke to a couple of Belgian journalists last night, and one of them couldn't believe that we were in for him. They said, look, he's hardly torn up the Belgian league, so not too sure why they were in for him. And another guy said, oh, he reminds me of Leon Bailey before he got his move to Germany. So, there. And then if you look at Shaqiri, as I said, there's a 12-minute buyout. Klopp would know him from his time in Germany. I think he actually played with Salah with Basel as well for a while. I'm not 100% on that, but they were both at Basel for at one stage. And as Chris said, if we wanted him, we'd go out there and get him. So at this stage, it really is, we're just seeing who's available, see what options are out there before we make a decision.
I genuinely think we've learned from last summer, Molly. I think our tactics in the transfer market, our strategy is absolutely totally different from last summer, where we just made it clear. Do you remember all the big boys, all the big journalists coming out and saying, we only want VVD. We only want Keita. We're willing to wait. We're willing to do. There's no other options. Do you know what I mean? Do you remember everyone was asking, what's the alternative to Keita?
Yeah, but to be fair, I don't think there really is not an alternative to the likes of Virgil van Dijk and Naby Keita, because they are, the top echelon of players. When you look at backup players to Salah and Mane, and if you have a budget between 10 and 20 million, there's going to be a lot of players out there that are in and around the same skill set. That likes that Guedes guy, he looks brilliant. I must say he'd probably be my pick. I know it was Steve Hoare who broke the story, and if people remember, it was actually him who broke the Virgil van Dijk story last summer as well. So I definitely think we're certainly interested in all these players, and we're just going to maybe take our time, have a look at it, and make a decision.
Okay. I just want to point out, Gav, we actually mentioned, and we were scoffed at when I said that we made an inquiry for Oblak. Well, just breaking news now all over Twitter is that Liverpool have made an inquiry for Atletico Madrid goalkeeper Jan Oblak, and it's your man Dave Maddock again, who seems to be sort of the leading journalist for when it comes to the inside stories this year. Okay. So we actually said that last week that we made it. I knew of the inquiry, and it's come out today.
Okay, so if we've to believe everything, we're in for Alisson. We're signing Butland. We've put a bid in for Leno. We made an inquiry for Oblak. I done a tweet last week, completely in jest, about our starting lineup for next season, and it was basically 9 goalkeepers, Mike Cooper and Roberto Firmino, and like the fucking carry on now. Every goalkeeper that's going is being linked with us. Just before we finish, you've given me your opinion on all these players that might come in, might come out. Just something you touched on there, Grizz, and it's the strategy of Liverpool. The one thing that seems to come out every summer since Klopp has been in charge, so you're looking at, this will be his 3rd summer in charge, and every time it comes out, and it seems to be, Klopp wants his business done quick. Klopp wants his business done before a tournament. Klopp wants it done before we start pre-season. And, when you say to people, are they looking at him or they not? Oh, don't worry about it. Work has been in the pipeline for months. All these names can't be true, because you don't put months of work into all these players. You genuinely don't. But for you, Grizz, for all the names that are going around, do you still think he has Fabinho was obviously one of them, and he went and done it without anybody knowing. I don't even think Liverpool knew he was fucking doing it. It was that secret. But for you, is there still clear targets for him? Because he hasn't been. You haven't seen us being 100% rebuffed on any player. And I include Dembele in that. I don't think anything's official come out either way on Dembele, whether they want to sell him or whether we've been rebuffed. So that could be completely up in the air. But do you still think he has 4 to 5 main targets, and he's going to keep driving at them and still have, smoke screens or lads on the back burner, as they like to call it?
In my opinion, there's no doubt about it. I think there's clear 3-4 targets that he had in mind at the start of the window, and I think let's say 4 of those targets. Let's take away Fabinho. I still think I'll name them. I'll just I'll go and name them. I think Alisson was his target, first choice target. I think Fekir was his first choice target. I think Dembele is his first choice target, and I think all 3 of them are still very much, as I've said to you guys in the WhatsApp groups, whatever. Fekir's done. Forget about it. Don't even stress about Fekir. It's just a matter of when with Fekir. Okay. But the Alisson, Fekir, the others. This is where, if you notice, the profile of player that's being mentioned in all these links that you've been all these players that you've mentioned, sort of your Butlands, your McCarthy's, your Lenos, goalkeeper sort of names are coming out, and sort of your Dembele or Pulisic. Dembele or Pulisic is his first choice, and then all the others are sort of alternative names that are coming out. So look, it's always good to have a first, second, third, fourth choice, and this is what I mean. This is the difference in strategy this year, where we're putting out names and putting doubts in clubs like, look, we're not going to be held to ransom here. So I still think there's the three targets that I personally know of are still doable and still up in the air.
Okay.
As you said, nothing's sort of, no, they're not coming kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Molly, one for you. And it's just from reading back through this list of what I had written down after talking to you before we came on air. It was Alisson, Fekir, Moses, Butland, Shaqiri, and the lad from Valencia. One thing I did notice is that the centre-half talk has gone very quiet over the last week. About 3 to 4 days there last week, it was massive on Lascelles and Tarkowski off Burnley, thanks very much. And there was big talk on them and whispers about another couple, but again, that's probably just paper talk as usual. It's gone very quiet on that, hasn't it?
It has, but I think that is we're just kind of prioritising other targets. We can't be, putting bids in for every player that we're looking to sign. And I think we're looking at, Fekir is the priority right now. Maybe backup winger after that. Obviously, the goalkeeper situation. And I think they're quite easy going with the whole centre-back thing. If they get one in or they don't get one in, I think they're easy enough going with it. I think they'd like one, but it just wouldn't be a priority this window for them. Yeah.
And Molly, I'll stick with you. How long does it take Juventus, and how many weeks are Juventus being confident of signing Emre Can by the end of that week? How many weeks are we at now?
It's going on maybe 6 months, but look, that deal is done. I think the problem here is that Can is technically still under contract with Liverpool until the 1st of July. So really, they're not going to come out and announce anything until his contract is up. But everyone knows that deal is done.
The only thing I would say about that is that he's a free agent to speak to people in January. He can announce wherever he wants. Okay, there may have been some negotiations going on, maybe up till March or April. He goes out with a back injury, and people doubted whether it was an injury or whether he was staying clear of playing for Liverpool, or which, I don't know, you can argue either way. But the one thing I would say is that our season finished on the 26th of May. So there's no reason for Emre Can to turn around and no reason for him not to turn around and say, look, I've signed a deal with Juventus. I'm never going to be on a pitch with Liverpool again. And he can slip away into the sunset.
He obviously, he may have agreed verbally the deal, but the season's over. He's gone away on holidays. Probably going to take a couple of weeks. The date is going to be there for him when he comes back to sign it, and I think that's when the announcement's going to be made. I don't know if you're suggesting that maybe there's a possibility he could still sign a contract with Liverpool or even go to another team, but I don't think so. I think it's just a case of, look, there's a deal done, go away on holidays, I think he's gone to the World Cup. He's picked for the German side for the World Cup, isn't he?
No, I don't think he was.
Is he not? Yeah,
no.
So he's probably going to could win holidays a couple of weeks, come back July 1st, sign the deal, make the presentation. Everyone's happy.
Now, Grizz, before you jump in, I hope you're not going to jump in to tell me that Emre Can wants to stay at Liverpool, but Klopp has told him, no, you're surplus to requirements. Please don't say that to me.
No, I'm not going to say that to you. It's fine, whatever happens with him, But the thing what I was going to say is about the centre-half situation. We've actually inquired about a centre-half this week. And I don't have the names out there, but we actually, Arsenal was supposed to get this guy. Arsenal were apparently very close to getting him, but they ended up going for Socrates from Dortmund instead. But also we've put in an inquiry for him. No bid at this stage, as far as I know. The Freiburg centre half is of Turkish descent, so maybe one Turkish player of one Turkish descent. Okay, it's Soyuncu. Spelled Soyuncu. Spelled S-O-Y.
Okay, well, Grizz.
So he plays for Freiburg in the Bundesliga. So we are looking for, it seems, again, just like the backup to sort of our forward men, the profile of centre half that I think we will end up going, because I think we're trying to go big on the keeper and Nabil Fekir. So therefore we have to cut down. Our budget is not unlimited. So therefore we're looking for a younger centre half. as opposed to I know you want the finished article, sort of a Boateng or a Alderweireld. I just don't see it happening. I think we're going to
Yeah,
go
I
for
do.
sort of
I do 100%.
Lascelles. Yeah, I know you do, but I'm just saying realistically, it's looking like a Lascelles, Tarkowski, or this chap Soyuncu
Okay.
type player, sort of a younger centre back who's going to play back up to Lovren and VVD.
Okay. I'm going to finish it up because Grizz hasn't put money in his a broadband meter, but it looks
Can
like
we
because
quickly
he's
talk
jumping
about
all over the
Butland,
place.
Gav?
Yeah, you can have a quick word on
Butland.
Butland before we go. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just I spoke to a couple of people this week regards Butland, and each one of them has told me the same thing, that basically we have personal terms agreed with Butland. There's no fee agreed yet, but the player himself is confident that a deal will be done. He's so confident he's meant to be house hunting in Merseyside. And what I also heard is the agent who's taking care of this deal is the same agent who took care of the Andy Robertson deal to Liverpool, which, as we know, kind of dragged on last summer but before it was eventually done. So I'm not 100% sure on it myself, because I think what was interesting regards to Shaqiri news and the Moses, the fact that we're looking to spend like 12 million for a backup, to me that suggests we're trying to keep our powder dry for maybe spending a lot of money on a goalkeeper, and I don't think Butland would be that. But if Alisson doesn't happen, I would not be shocked whatsoever if Butland was to come in.
Yeah.
I'm convinced it's Butland. If we can't get a number one or number two target keeper, it's Butland. The Butland deal, as I've said before, the Butland deal is there. It's ready to be activated type of thing, but we're trying to get sort of better. But yeah, as Molly says, if we don't, Butland's there. We're going to end up with Butland, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, the only thing I would say on Butland is, for me, it's we should be signing a keeper. I think if Butland comes in, I think it's as to challenge Karius. But he also could come in if we sign a top end goalkeeper and Karius says no fucking way, I'm out of here. And then you bring in Butland and you say, okay, Butland, you're going to be second to this guy because we spent 50 million on him. And Butland is either looking at, he could be fucking signed by, he could be in the championship if no one touches him, or he could be looked at by the likes of a Newcastle, someone like that, where he knows it's going to be another struggle.
There's news of Wolves sort of trying to jump in on him, but I think he's just waiting for us.
Okay.
When we say no to him, sort of, then he's adamant. As far as Butland's concerned, he's coming to Liverpool.
Okay.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Gav. I think he could come in, whether that's with Alisson or without Alisson. I think he could come in either way.
Yeah, I think he comes in as either backup to an Alisson, or he comes in to compete with a Karius. I basically don't see a big sign and Karius at the club, if you get what I'm saying. I think Karius going to say no way and walk away. That's my opinion on it. But look, lads, we're going to leave it there. What day is today? Wednesday, is it? Wednesday, yeah. So, look, if anything breaks between now and, say, Sunday night, we'll try to get on straight away. Us three lads, anyway, we'll try to bring other people on, especially if they have, more knowledge of the player than we would have. We'll definitely try to bring people on and give their kind of expert look on it as well. If nothing breaks, we'll be back on Sunday. I don't know whether that's going to be a Fatback 4 or whether it's going to be a Word in the Street. We'll have a look at that as the weekend goes, or the rest of the week goes. But no, that's been the Word on the Street for the 6th of June. Loads of names. Sorry, just quickly, lads, one last question, because a lot of people are probably asking this. Are you confident of what we're doing this summer in the market? Molly, I'll go with you first.
Yeah, if we get in Fekir and we get in a top-class goalkeeper like Alisson, I'll be pretty much happy that. I think the rest, and we've already got Fabinho and Keita coming in, I think the rest, like Shaqiri and so on, is just going to be filler. There's just going to be for the squad debt. So, yeah, I'm going to be happy, I think, at the end of the summer. Even if Alisson doesn't come in, we just end up with Butland and Fekir and Fabinho and someone like Shaqiri. I don't think it would be an absolute disaster.
Okay. And Grace, are you confident enough with what we'll do in the summer?
Proper excited. Can't wait. I think I can't wait for that first game of the pre-season to start. I think our business, I trust our men in charge. as long as it's not Moses or Shaqiri. But nah, joking aside, I think we'll be fine. I think the business that players we're targeting, the sort of the higher end we're shopping at, is fantastic.
Okay. All right. Well, look, that's definitely the end. We're out of here. We will keep an eye on our on the Trippers Twitter feed. As I said, this is going out live to YouTube, and these sort of transfer updates and discussions will probably stick to exclusively to YouTube for the moment. We'll try to get them onto a normal audio pod as well, and all the other shows that we do normally will, as usual, go YouTube, Periscope, and all that sort of stuff. But we keep you up to date more with what's going on. But we should be back with you Sunday, in one way or the other. If not